Hello, happy 2025. I've been doing these like beginning of the year videos for a few years now, so I thought I would do another one here before the end of January to, be like, hey, another year. Crazy. It's crazy that it's another year. I was just thinking about this, how I'm gonna be 35 this year. And COVID started right before I turned 30. So it's been weird to kind of look at the last 5 years, and a part of me is like, I feel like I should be further along in my quote unquote career than I am now, but I don't even know really what that means, what a career looks like for me. And so my word of the year, so instead of New Year's resolutions, which I have like a few of those in the back of my head of like, oh, it'd be good if I did this and this, whatever. But my New Year's word of the year is gentle. I am going to be gentle. I think I might actually keep that in and keep going, because it kind of serves my point that I need to be kind to myself. Oh my, just completely fell off my little thing here. I guess I shouldn't touch the table I'm sitting at. Hi. So, my word of the year is gentle. Meaning the last like 5 years did not turn out the way that I thought it would. And it would be very, very easy for me to like beat myself up, like think about all the things I could have done differently or better or whatever and instead of doing that, instead of like looking into the past and being hard on myself, I'm instead gonna be gentle to myself, because nobody expected the last 5 years to look like it did, and I think everybody would love a do-over, but you know what, we just have to move forward and be kind to ourselves and know that we're going into a world that looks different than what we were expecting. So gentle is my word of the year. Now I'll start with a recap of 2024, because I did that last year, and so we'll start with that. So 2024, I started the year releasing a new solo piano EP. I released Imagination, and it was one of those releases where I was hopeful it would do better than it did. It's actually very interesting, because Waves of Doubt, my single that I released the previous fall, does these like spikes on Pandora, and I think it's causing people to like look into the rest of my catalog. So Imagination, even though it didn't like take off, I'm seeing people starting to like poke around and like play some of the songs that weren't really getting a ton of attention earlier this year. So that's cool to see that. So if you haven't checked out Imagination yet, just look up Little Sailboat anywhere you listen to music. So Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, look up Little Sailboat and you will see an EP called Imagination. And that's my latest solo piano project. I have a mental note that I need to come back to solo piano projects here at the end of this recap. I have something I want to make sure I say about that. So, mental note. So that was at the beginning of the year. And then I had plans to like keep writing screenplays, and I also kind of teased at the beginning of last year that I was like trying to do something new that I might post on the channel, and that never came to be. I for those of you who aren't really paying attention to the entertainment industry, they've had a bumpy 5 years. You know, I started screenwriting during the pandemic, and I was hopeful, like post-pandemic, that there might be some interest in the work that I'm doing. But I think what has been going on is like the pandemic slowed down production, or it stopped production really, and then there was this like backlog of projects that once COVID, the restrictions came down, that they were starting to put these projects back into production. But then the strike happened, and then after that a lot of these studios are like doing like budget cuts, and I've been paying attention to like podcasts and like articles and stuff about the industry, and I just keep hearing that like even people who have been in the industry for a really long time aren't getting work, or having like a hard time getting work, or they're going to pitch meetings and like nobody's buying anything. So you know, hearing all that and reading all that, it was really, really hard for me to even be motivated to write when I'm like, the industry is changing. Are they even gonna let new people in anymore? And so I had a goal of like trying to make something on my own, like take one of my shorts and try to animate it on my own, but it didn't end up working out. It kind of fell through. So I don't know if I don't know what's gonna happen with all the stuff I wrote. It was really life-giving to write. You know, most of that stuff was written during the pandemic, and then coming out of the pandemic, like it was just so nice to have that outlet. But now it's kind of sitting on my laptop, and I really don't know what's going to come of it. So so we'll see. You know, maybe in a few years when things calm down, and though with AI, you never know. And I've looked into that. I'm like, do I want to animate stuff with AI? But it's not clear to me the creative rights I would have there, and like, yeah, it's just a very fuzzy world right now. So I had plans to write, and then that, you know, I wasn't really motivated to. So instead, I just like threw myself into improv comedy. So most of 2024 was me taking more improv classes, taking like one-off classes, or I want to call them studios. That's not what they're called. They're like little seminars or whatever. And I actually from one of the classes I was in, I formed like a mini like improv troupe, and so we practice every Tuesday. We started off in a library, like we were practicing every Tuesday in a library meeting room, which was always kind of funny because you'd see people walking by with their books like, what's going on? And then we moved to, one of my troupe members has a space where we've been able to practice. So that's been really good. So every Tuesday I'm practicing improv with a troupe. We've gotten to perform a few times. I've gotten to perform, and that's another thing that happened this year is like I started participating in this like monthly improv show that happens where they kind of like throw everybody into different groups, and then you practice for a little bit, and then you perform. So I've been doing a lot of improv. I've been practicing and performing and learning. I have been like auditioning for like official shows, and nothing's come of that yet. Like I've auditioned for like 4 different shows. Yeah, and this past year I auditioned for 4 different improv shows, and none of them came to be. You guys may remember that like when I initially jumped into improv after COVID, I like randomly auditioned for a troupe that is pretty well known in Minnesota, that performs at like a pretty well known like dinner theater. And actually, am I looking into the camera? Which one is the, if I'm looking off to the side, I'm sorry guys, I think the camera's right there. Hopefully it is. Oops. We'll see. So the first time I auditioned for a troupe, like a few years ago now, I've been doing improv comedy for like 2 years, 2.5 years now. And I like did it on a whim and was just so excited to do improv, and just like didn't make it, but just was super pumped to even like be on stage. And I tried to audition again this year. It was my 3rd time auditioning, and I didn't get in, and I emailed the producers of it and just asked for feedback. And they told me, they were like, you have become like a really wonderful part of this community, because I had been taking classes there. They actually, when I was unemployed, which was a big portion of my 2023 year, I had like 3 different jobs that year, and I was in between employment, and it was rough. So when I was unemployed, they actually gave me a scholarship to take their classes for free. And so that was just like, I needed that during that time. So they really have been kind to me there. And so, yeah, so when I didn't get in the 3rd time, what they emailed me was like, hey, like, you're a wonderful part of our community. You had a really strong audition, but we need to see more like stage presence from you, like more strong stage presence from you, and also like need to see you like projecting more. You guys can probably tell when I do these videos, I have a pretty soft, like sing-songy voice. And when you're on stage, like, and you have to like get your voice, it's not like stand up where you have a mic in front of you, like you have to project to the back of the room. And I just have not had practice doing that. I've always been used to having, like, as a singer-songwriter, I've always been used to having like a mic right up in my face. And it's possible that's been like a little bit of a crutch for me. So, so it hurt, to get that kind of feedback. I had become friends with a lot of the veterans of that troupe, and they were really kind in telling me that they thought I really had a good shot of getting in. So, so it was disappointing. But I took that feedback in, and I was like, okay, because I think what was strange about it to me at first is I love being on stage. Like, I feel really comfortable on stage. I don't get stage fright. I get like nervous, like happy energy, like nervous, like excitement energy when I do improv, but I'm not like scared. So I think what they were seeing is the way I have been doing improv. I've been very much like a listener. Like, I get on stage and I'm kind of like, okay, and I'm like listening to my scene partner, and I think what they're seeing is like hesitation, and they just want me to make like bold choices. So I've been working with some improv coaches on like how I can come on stage with my own idea and my own character, and then I am still listening and responding and yes-anding, but I'm doing it purposely in like a character that I have chosen and I have molded. And so that is something where I'm like, oh, okay, like I don't have to, this is where it gets personal, right? Because I feel like I've been a bit of a chameleon in my life, where I've like shapeshifted and like tweaked myself, changed who I am to kind of fit into different environments. And I think I've been doing that in improv, where I'm like on stage and I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? And it's like, no, like you can come on stage and make like a strong declaration and be a strong character and believe in the character that you want to be, but still like yes and listen to your scene partner. So I've been working on that. And so a lot of this last year has just been that, learning how to get better at that, and just trusting myself, you know? So, and on top of that, another thing I tried this year is I did my very first stand-up open mic. Some of you might have seen it. My friends caught like the very end of it, and I put it up on my YouTube shorts. So if you haven't seen it, you can like go comb through my YouTube shorts and you'll see me with Mike doing stand-up for the very, very first time. It's so funny because I've been a fan of stand-up for like over 10 years, and I love stand-up. I watch a ton of stand-up, and I have a variety of stand-ups that like I really admire. And you guys have probably figured out by now that like I kind of live in a state of like I wonder, where it's like, huh, this is really cool. I wonder if I can do it, you know? Because the same thing with writing, like I had hearing issues when I was a kid, and that was hard on my ability to learn how to read and write. And so I never thought I would like be a writer because it just didn't come naturally to me. But I've always been like a creative person. So I'm always willing to try things. So yeah, I did stand up, and it was so interesting because I wasn't sure if I would like it or not. Like I really have admired watching other people do stand up, and I love listening to people like talk about stand up. And I got off stage and I was like, okay, I did it. I performed stand up. But what was interesting is like, I didn't have like the instant joy that I get from improv comedy. So improv comedy is very much like throwing stuff up against the wall, seeing if it sticks. If it does stick, you try to kind of weave things together, and then whatever ends up happening is like a really beautiful, happy surprise. And I just get so much, like the creative process is so energizing to me. Like I get really I just get really energized by the creative process. Like after I write a song, I'm always just like, just like, and so stand up, it was so interesting that like I got off stage and I didn't have that instant like creative buzz like I do when I write music or when I do improv comedy. And I realized it's because like stand up is like a puzzle. Like you are literally putting things together, and then you're hearing things, like people are reacting to certain things, and so you put another piece here, and then you hear something else, and then you say something, and then you adjust the tone, and so like and I like puzzles and I enjoy puzzles, but I love like throwing paint up against a wall more. Like I love yeah. So I think I'll still do more stand-up. Like I plan to pop into different open mics when I can, just because I think it's good for me. You know, continuing to work on just like being confident and just me and my voice, and not feeling like I have to like shift my tone to match someone else. Like I do think that that's good for me. So but I don't think I'm gonna like pursue it like some people like stand up is their thing, and then that's like their, you know, and I really admire those people. But I think like for me personally, I want to make sure I'm doing as many things as possible that bring me joy, and I just love throwing paint up against a wall and like seeing what happens, you know. So and I'll give you an example of this. I was in a show in the fall, and I was performing with a bunch of people I'd never performed with before. And so like we had practiced before the show, and I was like, hey, we'll see how this goes. And we're performing the show, and at one point I like walk on stage with another person, and I like sit down on one of the boxes, and someone else like kind of steps like 1 foot up on a box, kind of just like looking out into the crowd. And my opening line was, you know, when you said we were gonna go bird watching, you didn't tell me it was gonna be ostriches. And I mean, like, it came from nowhere, right? Like, the thing about improv is you just like, you just say things, which is wonderful. And so I look off to the side, and my fellow players, like, they kind of smirked and smiled a little bit because that set them up to like be ostriches. So the two of us were sitting there, and people were like coming in front of us pretending to be ostriches, and we were bird watching. We were watching these ostriches. And so then the guy I'm improvising with is just like, oh, they're dancing, and I'm like, oh, they're dancing, and the people who are pretending to be the ostriches start to dance. And then the guy I'm with it was like, are they river dancing? And the people start to river dance as ostriches. And so the closing line of that scene was me going, wait, ostriches are Irish? And scene. Like, it's just like, like, none of that was planned. None of that was like purposeful. It just like beautifully, we all just kind of, and it just like beautifully came together. And that's just one of the things I just love about improv comedy. So, yeah, so I think that was really my past year. I got like a full-time job again at the beginning of I was unemployed the first couple of months of the year, and finally got a full-time job in March of 2024. And I'm still in that job, which I'm like, whew, okay. And that job I'm working in works with upholsterers and fabricators. And so I've started to get to learn more about that world, which is also very creative, and learning about designers and stuff like that. So that's also been a big part of my year, and been really fun. It's been good. Like, just, I know whatever I want to do. Words, goodness, what am I trying to say? I know at the end of the day, I want to create, and I want to be around other creative people. So I did that this past year, and I want to do more of that this year. So going into, I'll sit up. Okay, going into this year, it's gonna be this fall. It's gonna be the 10-year anniversary of Dialogue, my solo piano EP, the very first thing I ever released on all of the streaming and purchasing platforms. I had released like a demo in like 2013. I had released like a demo on Noise Trade. Do you guys remember Noise Trade? Whew. Anyway, I had released a demo on Noise Trade in like 2013, but 2015 was the first thing I released truly under Little Sailboat, and it was solo piano. It's called Dialogue. You guys can still find it on all of the streaming platforms. Baby Bluebird and Dialogue, two of the solo piano songs off of that EP, are still really popular, which is fun to see. I mean, like Baby Bluebird in particular is just a song I really love. 10-year anniversary this fall. And so I'm going to be thinking about if there's a way I can mark that or celebrate that somehow. I haven't quite figured that out, but just like, whew, I've been doing this for a bit now, guys, and it's just wow. And then I'm definitely going to be doing more improv comedy. I'm every Tuesday I'm practicing. I'm doing shows, and I'm still going to audition for things when I can, because I've been doing this a little over 2 years now, and it's going to take time, it's hard for me to say that because I wish I could just, be on stage as much as possible, but because it's just so fun. But it's going to take time for people to like trust me and feel like I'm someone that can like perform consistently, and yeah, and I've gotten some really good feedback. That monthly show I was telling you guys about, people have said some really kind things to me about my performances and how the big thing I keep hearing is that I'm really fun to watch. And I think it's because like I'm super expressive. Like you guys see it on here. Like my face is my face is constantly moving. So you can imagine in like an improv environment when I'm like in a scene that I'm probably very animated. So that's one of the things I hear is that I'm just super fun to watch. And yeah, so more improv this year for sure. And more music for sure. You guys know that like I never stop writing music. Like I'm constantly writing music, and most of it ends up on YouTube, but some of it doesn't. And a part of me, I don't know if I'm gonna release anything this year. I haven't quite figured out like the direction I want to go with my next releases. I definitely could release more solo piano. You guys have seen I've got a ton of solo piano. But I also have been liking a lot of like the singer-songwriter stuff I've been writing as of late. The last song below this video, it's called Winter Bird. I think that's a really pretty one. If you look in my playlist, you'll see that I have like a ukulele song playlist, and the first song in that playlist, also called Little Bird, I really love. So when it comes to like releases, I could see myself either doing another solo piano EP, or I could see myself releasing like one of those singer-songwriter songs, like really stripped back, you know, just me performing over like a borrowed microphone and my ukulele and just kind of singing into it, and releasing something like that. So we'll see what happens there. If you guys have opinions on that, comment in the comments below and let me know if there's something in particular you're like, Amara, like please record this. I would like, just, you know, let me know in the comments. Because you know, there's 600 something of you guys. Some of you have to have opinions. Yeah, so that's a plan I have. And then when it comes to writing, like I know I told you guys that like it's hard for me to keep writing like screenplays and stuff when I don't know what's happening in that world. But a part of me is like, well, like it'd be good to like keep that muscle going. Just because like I was in like a screenwriting class for 2 years, and it would be kind of sad to like let that all go down the drain just because like the industry is the way it is. So I thought about like, well, maybe to keep me motivated, I can have it be music related. So you remember that romantic comedy I was telling you guys about last year? I still have that idea, and I've been kind of like poking around and have outlined a few different ways it could go, but I'm like, wait a second, it could be a musical. Oh man. So I like, if I do end up writing, it's probably gonna be a musical, and so you guys might see some songs pop up on my YouTube channel where you're like, what's going on here? I don't understand. Why is she singing about blueberries? And it's like, well, because it's related to my musical that I'm writing. So that's kind of something that like I have in the back of my head that I hope to work on. Musicals take a lot of people, it takes years to write a musical. And I think that's probably good for me too, to start doing a project that's like a little slower, so that like I don't spit something out and then be like, who wants it? Because nobody wants anything right now. So kind of being, again, gentle and slowing myself down and being like, you know what? Write a musical and spend some time on it and have some fun with it, and just, you know, just enjoy the process. So that's the plan there. And is there anything else? I feel like there was something else. Also, kind of a series I was thinking about doing on this YouTube channel is like, you guys see me singing like a lot of singer-songwriter stuff and some solo piano stuff, and the music I actually listen to is different than what I write. And so a part of me is like, it'd be fun to do like a YouTube series of like, what am I listening to? I've created some like Spotify playlists in the past and have sent those out to my newsletter folks. And, but like a part of me wants to tell you guys like why I listen to what I listen to. Like over this past year in particular, I've been listening to a lot of R&B, and I'm definitely like a pop girl. I love listening to pop and dance and EDM, and I'm also into some like darker alternative music and stuff like that. And I don't know, a part of me is like, it'd be fun just to like talk about what I listen to and why I like it and how it inspires me. And because it's so interesting how I can listen to like an EDM track and then that night I'm writing solo piano music. So yeah, so you might see those popping up over this year. Anything else? This video is already 30 minutes, which is a record for me. But I feel like there might be more and I'm forgetting, and I might have to say it later. I think that's it. Yeah, we're gonna call that good because it's already been 30 minutes. So if you made it to the end, congratulations. And I'm not actually, now that I've been doing this for 30 minutes, I don't know if this is the best lighting, but it is what it is, and we're gonna be gentle. Yeah. So, all right. Bye, everybody. I hope you have had like a great start to your year, and I'm looking forward to continuing to release stuff for you guys. So, all right. Bye.